Hi, everybody. So this is Dr. Matt Luckett, and I'm here to share with you my course development shell for HUX courses. So as I was emailing everybody today on December 12th, 2023, about the spring courses, I realized not long after that just how intimidated I felt when I was looking at the beginning of this class, my HUX 527 class this past fall, not having anything developed for, well, I mean, I had the class developed, but I didn't have a Canvas shell developed. And so, as I'm sure you all realize by now, Canvas shell development and course development are two very different things. So, I had the idea probably several months too late that it might be a good idea to create a shell course to actually import into your shells for those of you who want that. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. So by no means am I saying you need to use this course design. However, I thought I would make it available to anybody who does want to use it. I hope this will take some of the work and some of the labor out of having to create these shells from scratch, which takes a lot of work. I just spent the last few hours uh, just deleting stuff, changing things, editing things. It's a lot of work, obviously. So anything we can do on our end to make your jobs easier, I want to do, and hopefully we can also talk a little bit about uh, best practices and principles of online course design as we go through it. And I think that's especially important now that we have um, discussion board access for our students, which we can talk about discussion board parameters and rules at a later date. But today we'll just go through the bare bones, how to create them, how to monitor them, and create them in Canvas, score them, date them, things like that. So first of all, as you're looking here, when you click into the dashboard, right? So when you go to your class, this is the first page. This is the landing page, the home page. And so if you notice this banner right here, when you go to any page within my class, uh, all the pages have this banner on them. You certainly don't have to do that if you don't want to. But if you like the idea of having a banner and you just don't want to have to go to each page, and do your own banner, or insert it yourself or anything like that. I try to make it as easy as possible to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Canva. So Canva is a free website. You can just go in, create an account. You have there are different accounts. You can get a premium one and be able to do other things, but I think I just had the free one. So I'm going to go to create new design. So if you notice over here, I have width 1900 and height 400. So these are the best, basically those are the best specifications for a banner image in Canvas. So just go to create new design. And so you can either completely just make your own, go and import a couple of images and then you can kind of noodle around with it and see what you want to do. Or you can even just go over here to design. You can even just pick one of these if you want to. I mean, that's what this is for. So let's say we're doing a class on uh, let's see, old school on music, right? I'm a big Elvis fan, so let's just do HUX 799 intro to, oh, that's really big. So what we'll do is we'll just go to font and we'll just reduce that quite a bit. HUX 799 intro to Elvis. All right. And then, HUX or instructor, professor, Matt Luckett. All right, perfect. Done. Easy. Okay. Obviously, you can put a lot more work into that if you want to. So now all we do is we go up here to the download link. Let's click on download. Keep the size settings the same. Go to download. Oh, this is pretty good. Oh my goodness. I didn't even realize that. So okay. We'll just download the watermark draft. That's fine. Just for argument's sake. I didn't realize I got a premium one. Okay, so here's the trick. Anyway, so here's all we're gonna do. We'll just go to this is the desktop, new folder, because that's the original banner image. I want to keep that. We'll just make this banner. And then save it as banner image. Just type banner image, save it. Okay. Now we're going to go back to our class. We're going to go to files. Now we're going to go to the root folder. Guess I'm already in the root folder. Templates, course images, I think it's in here. Trying to find where this thing lives. Okay, banner image.png. So all we're going to do is I'm just going to take that banner image I just created. I'm in Windows right now. All I'm going to do is I'm opening up a new folder right now, and I'm going to drag this in. And then you want to replace it. Hit replace. Go to modules. Make sure it's replaced. Actually, go to home. Check that out. Hey, there we go. All right. Now it's going to be the same everywhere. So you've changed the root image. The root image will be presumably the same everywhere in your entire class. Before I make this available for export, I'm just going to change it back so that people have the regular thing. You know, I don't even see the watermark in here, so that's pretty cool. All right. Anyway, so let's go back to this. Hopefully that makes it really easy for those of you who want to just go ahead and do your own banner image. That way you're making one image and you just replace the regular banner image and you should be good to go. In terms of how I have this laid out. So first of all, let's go to, all right, so let's just go down the tabs here. Announcements. These are whatever you announce during the semester. Announcements are a really good way to stay in touch with your students. Post anything that changes in the syllabus. If you're extending grade deadlines or anything like that, you would just basically post an announcement, and that's the easiest way to do that. So now if we go to syllabus, this is where your students will be able to get their information about the class. All they have to do is click on this tab. So I put my original syllabus here, but I've also kind of tagged the syllabus in terms of what you're going to want to update. And obviously, like, you can change any of this stuff that you want to. The fonts, the size, you can put in images. I mean, it's your syllabus, it's your class, you do what you want. I'm just putting this here as a template. So feel free to edit or adapt it as you wish. If you look at this little content note right here, yellow highlighter means use your own copy. Orange means you can change, but please confer with CCDH policy first. And red text means don't change unless directed by the dean or the academic senate. So periodically, we'll be told to put things in our syllabi, take things out, change certain language. Mostly, this is just boilerplate stuff at the end. Those of you who don't teach regularly at CSCDH, you're going to want to have these things in your syllabi. And if there's anything I'm missing, especially for those of you who are, full-time stateside faculty, please let me know. I will change. You're better authorities on this than I am. And then we can update the template accordingly, just that we're all on the same page. We all have the same language on there. So anyway, orange basically just means, consult policy before you change it. Changing it's really, really easy. You just go up to edit. about 5. Let's say we're doing the Elvis class, HUX 799, intro to Elvis. Okay. Course design, or course description, whatever is in the catalog. Introduction, you delete this, obviously. Delete the rest of this. We'll just delete the whole thing. Go back up, and you just start typing whatever it is you want to type in. Same thing with the required readings, blah, blah, blah. Expectations, same thing, blah, blah, blah. All right. I have different distinctions in here between the online classes and the correspondence. You don't have to do that at all. I just do that because I'm lazy and I just want to have one syllabus. But include your assessments, exact same thing. Here's a table if you want to use that. If you want to add columns, all you have to do is go here. You can insert a row, insert another row. You can even add a column if you want. Just click on that, adds another column. So really easy to do. I already have a link here to the gradebook. Just keep that the same. And then whenever students click on that, they'll go right to grades, which is right up there. And that way they can see what their grades are. Grading scheme, just keep the ratios the same. Otherwise, it doesn't, you can do whatever you want. Attendance policy, even distance programs should have attendance policies. So just kind of take a look at mine, but think about, how heavily involved you want your students to be and at what point you plan on dropping them, if at all. Now we start to get down to more of the boilerplate stuff. Most of our students actually need to have proxies, either a pesky or somebody on the outside that can do business on their behalf. Somebody that can receive homework, receive graded material, things like that. So basically, we want to have a FERPA agreement on file for all of our students, and an email address and a phone number with all those different FERPA agreements, just so that we have somebody on the outside that can help handle student business. So anyway, that's just my policy here. Same thing, plagiarism, academic integrity. You can change that if you want to, but a lot of this is also informed by CCDH policy. And then down here, a lot of this is continuing professional education policies and class behavior and things like that. That's a little bit more boilerplate. But again, if any of this has changed, please let me know and I will update it accordingly. I'm just going to go ahead. If you are satisfied with what you've done, just click on update syllabus right there. I don't want to change this back, so I'm just going to cancel and show you the modules page. So this, I think, is where the real work that I've put into this starts. When we design these classes, we want them to be as linear as possible. By which I mean, when we turn these into correspondence classes, the way that we do that is going to settings, and I'm going to show you all this in a separate video on Thursday when we all have our meeting. But oh, you know what? Actually, it's separate. I have to go to my account. I'll show you guys on Thursday. But anyway, when we export our course content as an EPUB, it basically takes all of this stuff on this page here, on the modules page, and then it cranks it out sort of linearly, right? So we want to have this as linear as possible. And that's the reason why I have the different modules numbered and each of the pages numbered. So you don't have to do that. Again, I think this is best practices for online course development and course design, because in this way, your students know exactly where any of these pages rank in terms of the hierarchy, like when they need to read them, at what order they need to sort of process this information. But again, that's completely up to you, but it's just something that I like to do. For this particular class, and I think basically every good class should start with something like an introductory module. So I have Welcome, Your Journey Begins here. I have two separate course headings: course resources, course assignments. I have a course overview. Basically, this is part of the syllabus. Basically, I just take the top parts of it, everything from the grading scheme on up. Same thing with about your instructor. That's a good place to put your personal information. Not too much personal information, though. You don't want phone numbers, email addresses, anything like that. Just talk a little bit about yourself. No photos, but degrees earned and things like that are really good. And you want to have a course discussion board too. So this is Q&A. This is going to save you and your students a lot of time. Whenever a student has a question, they can post it here. You can answer it, and then the answer is there for everybody. So a lot of these students have the same questions, and so they'll ask you or they'll ask me or our staff constantly over and over and over about our various faculties policies. So just by answering them once here, the hope is you'll eliminate 80 to 90% of those follow-up questions. So I think that's generally pretty good practice. And now that we can have discussion boards, we can actually make that available. And then here, course assignments. I personally just have the 2 assignments that are due at the end of the semester. So I put those there right at the top. They're easy to access. And by the way, if you look at the dates here, all these dates correspond with the actual spring semester dates. So April 14th is the end of the term for the spring semester. Okay. And so end of the term, that way, you know exactly when it's due. That's the very last day of the term. So all those dates that I had for my own fall class, I basically transferred those over to the spring. And Canvas does that for you automatically. You just have to let it know the start and end dates for the term you're copying from, and the start and end dates to the term that you're copying into. So for instance, I copied this from my fall 2023 class and into a fall 2024 course shell. So I just updated those dates. So when you go through this, week 5, let's say you have a weekly reflection paper, February 11th comes at the end of week 5 in the HUX semester. So I hope this shaves a little bit more time off of your course development as well. So anyway, that's one thing that hopefully makes it a bit easier. So anyway, anything that's semester wide that can be used all semester, I basically just have in this first module. Second module, week 1, I kept both of my modules here intact, just so you can kind of see how I construct everything. Obviously, week 1 is, it really just kind of comes down to your own philosophy. Do you want to assign work that week? Do you not want to? I don't, but it's really up to you, obviously, how you want to approach your first week. So I have a lot of stuff here about history, art and craft of history. I have a couple of videos, 2 of my lectures on primary sources, secondary sources, things like that. So that's all there. You can put in whatever you want, obviously. Week 2, we start kind of getting into the class a little bit more. So if we click here, you can kind of see how I create these modules. So the first page in every module, in this case 2.1, it's basically just an introduction to whatever it is we're talking about that particular week. So this kind of goes back to course design, right? And we want something that doesn't only work well here in terms of introducing our students to whatever it is that we're doing in a particular week, but we want something that can also translate well into the correspondence guides. So my idea and the way that I do this is if we have a really good overview at the top of every week, then the course guides basically write themselves as far as I'm concerned. So when we export to correspondence, the exact same copy is there for your correspondence students. You don't have to really change a whole lot. And I'm a big fan of not having to do more work than I absolutely have to, especially when we're designing what's essentially 3 different modalities for our students, online, CDCR online, and correspondence. Note that this is the CDCR correspondence, which is why I'm in the CDCR shell. You can tell just by looking at the top left corner and seeing the state of California and the CDCR logo. Yeah, anyway. So I have a little bit of overview. You don't have to have all this overview. I have a lot less um, in my future modules, but I do also talk a little bit about the class, the pacing of the class, what I plan on assigning, just so the students kind of have an expectation of what to expect. How many readings or what kind of assignments that they have due, or et cetera and so forth. This is completely your prerogative. For those of you who are sort of working from a correspondence model, you have 3, 4, 5, let's say, different assignments. You can keep doing that here if you want to. But you can talk about that sort of in this space. So, the first couple weeks is when you really set the tone for the class and let students know what to expect, which you would do in an in-person class. But for those of you who are a little less experienced with distance education, that's something to kind of think about. And then the last thing is down here. If you look at the to-do list, every week I like to have a to-do. Basically, just so that students have one place where they can look, they can see exactly what they have to do that particular week, and then just kind of go through the checklist. So we click on next. This takes us right to the next page in the module. Again, this is why I have the numbers, why I have it all kind of ordered out. Because if you're flipping through a correspondence guide, it reads exactly the same way. Basically, instead of going from one page to the next, you're going from, well, in a printed correspondence guide, one page to the next. So these basically just read like subchapters. So it's very much like a textbook. So when you're thinking about course organization, once again, you really want to think about laying this out in a way that's easily accessible for these students. So here I talk a little bit about reading assignments. I kind of introduce what the next button is, which is what I'm using here. And then down here, I link to the reading. So you want to upload all of your readings and then just have links to all of your readings within Canvas. That way they can either read it here or they can even just download it onto their laptops. Excuse me. Or if we have a course reader, you can even have both of those. They can just flip to the page in the course reader that corresponds with that article. So just, when you get a chance, flip through this, kind of take a look at how I've laid things out. And then we get to the assignment portion. So I have both the discussion board here and the reading board here. Or the reflection exercise. So the discussion board is literally that. It's a discussion board. Students, they answer questions, they respond to one another. You can create whatever design parameters you want to for your discussion boards. Obviously, ask whatever questions you want to, score it however you want to, have whatever kind of rubric that you want to. It's completely up to you, but I have the exact same questions here just for demonstration purposes for a reflection exercise. So if you don't want to do a discussion board or you want to do something in addition to a discussion board, you can then have a reflection exercise. It's basically just a written paper where students reflect on or talk about whatever it is that they did that week. I mean, that can be anything you want to. It could be a journal, for instance, or some portion of a semester length paper, or don't have anything at all. Again, you don't have to have weekly assignments. I have these here in case for those of you who do want to have weekly assignments, you have templates here that already exist, and all you have to do is just edit these. Okay, you just have to edit them however you want. You don't have to create new ones, which is why I sort of set it up like this. So if you want to delete them, that's fine. You want to just not use the shell at all, that's fine. But for those of you who do plan on having weekly assignments, hopefully I've made it just a little bit easier for you. All you have to do is just go in, change the text, change the due date if you want to. I mean, you don't have to have it due on Sunday night. But whatever the case may be, just create it in a way that makes the most sense for you and your students and your syllabus. So if we go back to modules one more time, after the first two modules, I've literally just created templates for every module here. So if we go to module 3, week 3, I think you get the point. Just start putting your content, your to-do list. I do have a distinction here between article reading assignments and textbook reading assignments. Article reading assignments, these can be PDFs or these can be in a course reader. So if they have a course reader or they have a PDF, you link to it here if you have a PDF and they download it. Either way, they know that's where they need to look for that reading. If it's a textbook reading, then you have the funky little book icon here, and you just put the textbook reading here, maybe a sentence or two of introduction if you want, and then just put the author and the page numbers or whatever. And then anytime you want to add more of these, you can just go over here and duplicate. So let's say you have 3 different textbook readings. Just go over here and then edit. Textbook course assignment. Obviously, we want to get rid of the copy. Number 2, you know. Okay. So wait, you get the idea. You can make as many of those as you want to. Just duplicate the pages. And then when you're done, just go back in and go to edit. Go to the page order. And then just start plugging in numbers. And then do that with the rest. For those of you who have don't have a whole lot of content or text to put into these things, that's fine too. You can even just say, and the next thing we'll read is blah, 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 blah. I mean, the whole point is you want to kind of narrate your student through the things that they have to do every week through these various readings and different components of your assignments. So that's basically just why I do it that way. Like I absolutely encourage faculty to write a little bit more in terms of content, in terms of like creating that connective tissue, because you can use that in your online class, and that'd be extremely useful too in your correspondence class. And you'll be using the same copy for both, right? Because you're exporting this class into a document that will eventually become your correspondence course. But again, it's all up to you. I do have one video link here for those of you who want to do videos. It's something you can do. Just bear in mind that it takes me a lot of time to convert videos. They need to be on YouTube or they need to be already in MP4 format. So if you already have MP4 files, that's perfect. That saves me a lot of work. Otherwise, you need to be able to find it on YouTube. And then I have a program that allows me to cull it from YouTube and save it as a separate file. And then we stick that file online. But remember, there's no internet access for these students. They can't link out to anything. There can be no links, as you've probably already learned in your classes. That also means no YouTube video. So if you have a YouTube video, let me know. I'll download it. And I will make the video file available to you. And then all you have to do is link to it here. I would try to keep it under an hour. And the reason for that is our students have about 1 gigabyte or so of hard drive capacity. So anything more than 1 gigabyte in terms of file size, and they're not going to be able to download it and watch it. And also their Wi-Fi has a tendency to cut out, which is one of the reasons why we're trying to do readers. But anyway, so just, keep that in mind as you're designing these classes. But if you have a select number of videos and you give me enough lead time, I'm happy to digitize those for you. Okay. I think that's just about everything here. Again, when you import this into your class, you can change all these things as much as you need to. Do whatever it is that you need to do to update it, to make it work for you in your class. This is completely yours to change as you see fit. So none of this is directive. Okay, so that should take care of them. Oh, one last thing too about modules, or two little tips. First of all, these little green arrows over here, actually three things. First of all, these green arrows over here, these show whether or not your units are published. So those of you who use Blackboard, as soon as something is on Blackboard, it's published. At least the Blackboard that I remember using, that was the case. In Canvas, though, you need to specify whether or not something is published. If it is not published, students will not see it at all. So this can be really useful for when you're developing your classes. You can just keep everything unpublished. In fact, what I'm going to do now, while I'm thinking about it and I'm talking to you and show you just how easy this is I'm going to go ahead and unpublish everything. So then when you're ready to begin making these modifications, or I should say, showing these modifications to your students, or let's say you're done with a particular unit, you're finished with it, you want to move on to the next one, and you need sort of an easy eye trick to see what's been done and what hasn't, you can just publish it. So let's say I'm done with this. We just publish it. Click on that. Boom, you're done. If we're done with week 4, publish module and all items. Boom, we're done. Another thing you can do is if you're not working on a week anymore, you can just hide it. Click on the little arrow there, and then it just collapses. And then when you're ready to start working on it again, uncollapse it. The last thing I'll say too is, and this will kind of lead us into the next thing to talk about, when you're looking at graded exercises, you want to make sure that you do not have a available to date. So let's go back here. We're going to skip grades, collaborations. You can have rubrics. I'm not going to cover that today, but that's certainly something you're more than welcome to do, is have a rubric for all of your different assignments. So we'll just go straight to assignments. And so this is where all of your assignments live. And so you can start, you can get kind of a single view of when everything's due, how many points they are. You can even go up to discussions, and let's say you want to delete or drop the lowest 3 scores. You can actually do that. More options. We'll go to, well, what did I just do? No, I just created a new one. Hold on a second. So you can actually go up to discussions and edit, and then number of scores to ignore for each student. So if you want to drop the lowest 3 discussions, you can do that and just save. And it'll create a little rule here that'll drop the lowest 3 scores, but that's completely up to you. And you can even add an assignment there if you want to never drop it, if it's absolutely mandatory that your students do that particular assignment. So there's a lot of flexibility and toggleability in Canvas. It's really phenomenal. I love using Canvas. But kind of going back to my original point, if you go to, let's just click on discussion board 1. Let's go down to edit. So one issue a lot of our students have is trying to access a assignment, and let's say for whatever reason they lose Wi-Fi access, which happens a lot, and they're not able to turn it in. So if something is due, let's say January 21st, they're still able to submit it after January 1st. Now, if you want to take points off, that's your prerogative. If you want to say no, that's your prerogative too, but please don't put an until date here. Because what happens when you put in an until date, at that point, students won't be able to submit anything at all, period, for the rest of the semester. So it's a lot easier and a lot better for you to tell a student after the fact that you can't grade something. More often than not, I mean, these are graduate students. When they can't submit something, it's because they're literally not able to submit something. They're on lockdown. They lose Wi-Fi, which cuts in and out. Sometimes their laptops don't work. These aren't, iMacs. These are not great machines. So sometimes they cut out, sometimes they lose power, sometimes they delete the contents on the hard drive. This has happened to a number of our students. So please, 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 I implore you, don't have it until date here. It just makes things a lot easier for you and a lot easier for them. You can always tell them no later. You can always dock their points later. You can always refuse to grade it later. But at least, put that in there that they can't, it's just, trust me, it creates a lot of headaches, a lot of emails, a lot of correspondence when students simply can't upload something, particularly if it's a couple of hours or a couple of days after a due date and they just weren't able to for some technical reason. So I would much rather you have your late penalties and your makeup penalties articulated in your syllabus, as opposed to being enforced by Canvas. Okay. So again, if you go back to assignments, this is sort of your single view of everything that's due. You can create these however you want. Again, if you want to, let's say you import this this shell, you don't want to do any of the reflection exercises. All you have to do is just go over to these three little dots, click on delete. That's it. And then just do that for each of these. And then when you want to create a new one, you just go up to the plus, and then you just create a new assignment. You can create a quiz if you want to, a new discussion, an assignment, whatever it is that you want to do. You put in the point value, put in when it's due, and that's it. So hopefully that is really, really easy. But for those of you who want to keep sort of this weekly template, all you have to do is just go into each of the individual ones and just change the content. So it's really up to you. You don't have to keep the little icons and everything like that. I like to have them in there. This actually corresponds with old legacy HUX course design. All of our course readers had sort of a similar layout. Whenever there's a new reading or a new assignment or something like that, you had a little icon. And then you can just, that way students are kind of signposted as to what they need to do at any given point. But again, that's completely optional. Okay, a couple other things here. People, this is where you see who is and who is not in a course. This is by far the easiest way to see who's in your class. So if somebody is in your class and they shouldn't be, let me know. If there's somebody who should be in your class but isn't, let me know. You can also create groups if you want to. Excuse me. This is your one-stop shop over here, discussions for the different discussion boards. And you can even drag them down here if you want to close them for comments. That just makes it a little bit easier. A couple other things too with discussions. There's a lot of different options here. So anonymous discussion, we actually, CDCR will change this for us. This will be anonymized completely. We're not going to have a whole lot of say in that. Same thing really with the first two radio boxes here. I wouldn't worry about those. If you want to grade them, click that. If you want to allow liking, you can click that as well. And then points possible, you put that there. However you want to display your points. I always just use points, but you can do letter grade or GPA percentage or whatever it is you want to do. You can assign it to a different assignment group. If you want to drop the lowest 3 discussion boards, for instance, you just have a separate category in the assignment section for those various discussions, and then you just create that rule when you are done with that. I'm going to go ahead and revise that actually, because I don't want to export that with the class out. So I put it back down to 0, saved it, and then it disappeared. Okay. Quizzes, if you're doing quizzes, you can go here and create quizzes. If you want something that's ungraded, you can always create a survey. That's a good way to do it too. If you just want to pull your class on a certain question, just create a survey. It won't be graded or have any bearing on that. And then the last two things, actually, if we get onto files, I think it's a good idea to have a well-ordered sort of file hierarchy within your Canvas shell. Go to articles, I put all my PDFs in here. And if you remember that email I sent, I think last week, about file name conventions, if you've already put all of your file names in your Canvas shell, it's really easy to change that. So remember, I start with the course number dash the week when students will be reading that. Actually, I think they're reading it week 2. So I need to change that for me. But if I go over here, all you have to do is rename it. Thompson, let's see, 527-00. We'll just put 002 underscore. And then click on that. Now that changes every link throughout your entire Canvas shell. So you won't have to change any of your boxes, any of your pages, any of that other stuff. So once it's in Canvas, just change the file name directly, just like I did earlier with the banner. In fact, you know what? I'm going to change that again because that Elvis one is kind of annoying me a little bit. So we are going to go back up to course image, which is where the banner lives. And I'm going to simply change that to the one that I like, which has all the directions on it. So same thing, I'm just going to replace it. And it will automatically be replaced throughout the entire Canvas shell. It's a pretty magical thing. I love that so much. It's one of my favorite things about Canvas. Pages, this is sort of your one-stop shop for page information. So within each module, the different pages you're looking at, those all live here. So you can access the pages directly by going here. You can also very easily delete them if you need to. So if you want to just delete all of my pages, all the things that I created, all you have to do is just go through the list here and check them off. And then just go up to the trash can and then delete it. Super, super easy. So, all right, I'm just going to unclick these real quick. And then last thing I'm going to do is go down to settings. There's not a lot of settings that we're allowed to change, but I really do want everybody to be able to change your course image. And the reason for that is when you go to your dashboard, you see all those different images like spring 2024 class or whatever. You know, it's a good idea to just kind of personalize it a little bit. And well, I can actually cancel that, but you know, that way, whenever you look at your dashboard, you know exactly what class it is that you're trying to access. So history punishment 527, or we go down here to course development. And so that way I can just look at my Canvas dashboard. I know exactly what I'm looking at. And also your students can know exactly what they're looking at because undoubtedly they're going to have a lot more core shells than you are. And that way they can very easily figure that out. Okay, so I've been talking for a long time now. Let's see where we are. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, so I think we're about done with that. I hope this is helpful. Actually, you know, one last thing I'm going to show you guys something. The last thing I'm going to show you, and then I'll be done. Okay. I forgot to show you how to import and export. So the first thing we're going to do actually is export this. I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to go to export course content. Create export. Easy. Very, very easy. And this might actually take a few minutes because I forgot to delete my video files from this, which I will do once I am finished with this video. Okay, we'll just assume it's going to take a little while because I have all those videos. So we'll go back to settings and I will be sure to delete those videos. And then when you're ready to import, let's say you want to go ahead and import the shell for this course, like the shell within a shell, and have the template that I've created. All you have to do is go to import course content. I'm sending everybody a YouTube link with this video in it, which you are now watching. And I'm also sending you a link to my Dropbox, which will have this course in it. So all you have to do is go to import Canvas course export package. You would go to choose file, and then you would basically just choose the file that I've sent to you. Click on that after you've downloaded it to your own computer, and then import it. You want to do all content. You want to keep the dates the same. Or if let's say like you want to do what one trick is, if you want your assignments to be due like Monday instead of Sunday. All my assignments are due on Sunday. So all you have to do is go to adjust dates and events. Let's say, let's go to January 1st. We're going to change to January 2nd. And that will move everything up one date. End date, we're going to go to April 21st to April 22nd. And this will account for the extra date in February because it's the leap year. So that will move up all of your dates. All the date I have them all coded as being due on Sunday. This will make them all due on Monday. And that way you don't have to change any of the dates. Or you can even, if you want to, just remove dates. Up to you, whatever you want to do. Okay, I think that covers it. Now, and you know, click and import when you're ready. All right, so let me know if you have any other questions about this. Again, one last time, none of this is meant to impose onto you a aesthetic or a way of designing these classes. I think down the line, that's something that as a program we need to seriously talk about. It's good to have sort of program-wide course design just so that students know what to expect. There's not a lot of variability or too many surprises when they take a new class. That way they know what to expect. The aesthetics are the same. That kind of gives everybody a little bit more, I think, brain space to work on the course content as opposed to the rudiments and the building blocks of Canvas course design. So I think down the line, that's something we should do. But for right now, you don't have to. So you can just completely dispense with what I've just told you. But for those of you who might want that, this is now available to you. Hopefully, it might even just be a matter of taking the syllabus that you wrote a couple of years ago and just importing it into this Canvas class, as well as the PDFs, and going from there. But it's, again, it's here for you if you want it, but you don't have to. If you have any other questions, please send me an email. I'm more than happy to talk to you about this. And for those of you coming to the meeting on Thursday, or if this is after Thursday, you're watching this, thank you for coming to the meeting, or either way, thank you for watching this. So, okay, I will be done now, and thank you so much, and I will talk to you all later.